We're live. Good morning, Wednesday, May 13th, 2026 here at House Transportation. We are very happy to be joined by members of the Office of the Treasurer, particularly related around unclaimed property. There's a potential floor amendment that has been put together related to potential unclaimed property. And we don't get into this area very often. So we are taking a few minutes. Hopefully you can give us a little bit of background on unclaimed property and then how the heck the vehicle could potentially end up being in the unclaimed property piece. So thank you very much for joining us before. If you can take it away from there, that would be great.
For the record, Albert LaPearl, I'm the Director of Unclaimed Property. I've been the Director for 21 years at the Treasurer's Office. The Unclaimed Property Program is a consumer protection program. We bring in dormant financial accounts typically, mostly non-tangible items, and we hold them, safeguard them until we can return them to the rightful owner of the assets. The state does use the money. The statute's written that 45% of all funds we bring into the state is sent to the general fund on a yearly basis. The last few years, we've given $10 million, and this year is projected to be closer to $16 million to the general fund. We have $175 million of liabilities. We don't have a bank account that has $175 million in it because of the formula where we send money every year to the general fund. But if everybody came forward to collect their money, it would be $175 million every year. So that's the unclaimed property.
$75 million?
$175 million, about 1.3 million records on our website.
So presently, there's $175 million listed in unclaimed assets.
Correct.
And it's mostly cash.
Mostly cash.
There is other things.
We have tangible items. The only tangible items we have are safe deposit boxes. So banks that lose contact with a customer or people stop paying on their safe deposit box, those boxes are drilled and turned over to us after 7 years. And we have a vault where we keep those items in and we list them just like any other property. So
how much cash on hand do you have over 175?
we have about $20 million right now to pay claims. We retain 55% of the funds we bring in to pay claims. That's our long-term. If you look at our long-term average over 25 years, we have paid about 55% of the property we bring in out. And that's probably in the top 5 in the country. Of course, Vermont's unique, it's small.
So you have 20 million, it's 55%, like at the end of the year, how much does that get blended down? Or is it like a constant?
It's a constant. We get money every year.
Oh,
For example, companies have to report to us by May 1st, so we're right in our reporting season.
yeah.
And so far this year, we've brought in about 25 million.
Oh,
So at the end of this fiscal year, we'll do the calculation and send 45% to the general fund. About $300 is our average. We do have claims. Our largest claim that we've paid since I've been in the office is about $1.5 million, but more than likely the average claim is about 300.
Where did that learn? I had it here.
Yeah.
unless is that person worth, then you know.
Well, they had 21 million in Massachusetts as well, so.
Oh my goodness.
The story, the person actually passed away, and the people that ended up getting the payment had never met her. So they were distant relatives, and each one of them got about 300,000 to 400,000.
Very just.
Oh my God.
Right?
Representative Burke?
Yeah, we were at an event in Brattleboro that the treasurer was at, and he reached into his pocket and pulled out a check for $1,000 for our son. That's all I want. I said, here.
Treasurer Pichek does an amazing job of returning property. He really likes the program. He's an advocate for our program. So. And he does do things like that a lot. So we actually have a bill going through that will allow him to return even more money. So questions. I've looked at the amendments. So if you want me to jump right in. So the amendment from Representative Tomlinson, the only caution I have with that, if we don't have the funds, and we're going to direct people to unclaimed property, it's bad customer service for us because we don't have the funds. So when you call our office, You know, because it says that DMV is gonna have to contact us. If those funds aren't in our office, customers get frustrated because they're calling our office and we don't have the funds to return to them. This happens every year. Companies are required to send out what's called a due diligence letter 120 days before they send the funds to us. And sometimes our customers get confused when they get that letter. They call us, we don't have the funds yet. It's a source of frustration for them. And that's the only thing I would caution with that we don't list, you know, unclaimed property until we get the funds, so we can return them to the owner. The other amendment, I mean, we can, abandoned vehicle sales is not a typical unclaimed property type. It's not, I would be surprised if any other states do this. I don't know. I know all the NAPA codes. NAPA is the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. We use uniform codes so companies across the country can report the same codes to all the states. Every state has their own program. They're a little different, but we agree to use NAPA codes so the businesses don't have to learn 50 types of, 50 ways to report unclaimed property. This is not a typical property that's reported to our office. I'm not saying that we can't do it. We're always happy to take money in and return it to the owners. Which brings me to my question, who's going to let us know who the owners are? Is that for the tow companies, when they submit these funds to us, are they going to know who actually owns these funds? Or where that information is going to come to our office? We need to be able to return the money, and we can't do that unless we know who actually owns the money.
How do you, so let's put vehicles aside then for a second, or if we don't, I guess it doesn't happen right now is what you're saying.
Right.
If a non-tangible, or this example of these people that didn't know they're, but the owner of the vehicle, so how do you verify ownership? What's the process?
So
What's the kind of how does that work? What is the
The
investigation?
companies that report those properties to us identify the owner. If I have a bank account at Northfield Savings Bank and I've let that go dormant, when Northfield reports that money to us, they're giving me the owner name. So when we load that in the system, we already know the owner. The holder of the money originally, or the business that reports to us, they determine who the owner is. We don't determine who the owner is. They let us know, and that's who,
You don't have there's not a verification or a background,
No, the businesses are the ones that determine the ownership of that money.
and they're required by a law somewhere to give that to you at some point.
They are. The statute does allow properties to be reported to us as unknown. Like if you're a big business, for example, 15 years ago, we were doing audits and companies would go, well, this isn't our money, but we don't know who owns it. So we had a company give us $600,000. They go, we know it's unclaimed property. Our books are so bad that we can't tell you who actually owns that. So the state will take in unknown money. And, it's a benefit for all Vermonters because we do send the money to the general fund. So the money's used for the benefit of all Vermonters until it's returned. In those cases, though, that money will never get returned. And that's not the spirit of the program. The spirit is consumer protection. It is trying to get the money back to the rightful owners.
It's not viewed as a revenue source.
In Albert LaPearl's mind, no, it's
not the goal.
Right. It's not the goal of the program. It never has been the goal of the program to give money to the general fund. It is a benefit, of the program to benefit all Vermonters until the rightful owners are found.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
Realistically, not all owners are going to be found. People pass away, people move away, people don't know about unclaimed property. As much as we, advertise it, people think we're a scam. So it's even with the treasurer's face on the program, people still think we're a scam.
But you don't go after the owners, you just make that the things are available and expect people and look for people to come find you. You're not tracking down these owners.
We actually are.
You are.
We do use data matching services. We use the tax department to find people's addresses. We send letters out. And the statute allows the treasurer to send out checks without claims up to a certain dollar amount. Right now, that dollar limit is $250. So we just sent out a few thousand checks. We matched data against the tax department. They gave us updated addresses. We sent a letter and issued a check and sent those out. So we're in the process of negotiating a contract for additional data matching services with Thomson Reuters. So if that goes through, we can use their service to find.
What kind of size staff are we talking? What kind of
We are extremely small. There's myself and three other people. Two people pay claims, one person works with businesses. So we have asked for additional positions. There's obviously pushback on those, but hopefully we will at least get one more. We've had the same staff since I've been director, and our numbers are, when I started, we were paying, $3 million in claims, and now we're paying $10 million in claims. Last year, we paid over 35,000 claims. When I started, we were in 9,000. So we are extremely busy office and extremely small. But, automation helps us. Let's not kid ourselves, But still, we have automated since 2005 when I started, which is much better. We have a fast track program on our website. If the money's under $250, you can file a claim online. You don't need to submit a document to our office. So that saves us a lot.
So on the vehicles themselves, are you saying other states do not do this?
Not to my knowledge. It's definitely not a NAPA property type that is typically good. So unclaimed property also has an audit function. So we audit businesses. I mean, this would be trouble. I'm not saying we can't audit these businesses. It would just be difficult because if I think the fees are set. I breezed through the statute earlier today. I think some of the fees are set already in statute. How much you can cost or take for towing. But if storage fees aren't, it would be difficult for us to audit these types of transactions. If there's not a set fee schedule for this, it would be difficult. If storage fees are different across every business, and it's not a typical financial audit. I mean, we could come up with a system, but it would be more difficult.
Are there other questions from the committee? Representative McCoy?
Unclaimed similar to other states, like at 215 under, how many we call in, the states.
I can't.
Yes, we updated our statute a few years ago to do the revised unclaimed property statute. There's 13 states that have moved to that, 13 or 14. So we do what other states do. I mean, some of our business practices are different. So some websites on other states, up to $500 or $1,000. We're not comfortable with that. Where there's fraud or where there's money, there's fraud. So we have to balance that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Well, I don't know. Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. Did Peter have anything to add or not add to that? Mike, I'm sorry, Representative Southworth is the sponsor of the amendment with, I don't know if it's a little unusual, but if you have a question or not, I'd be happy to, or a comment, I'd be happy to hear it at this point. Okay.
And wasn't called.
Well, I appreciate that. That sounds, we learn something new every day. We're certainly, I don't think I have trouble speaking for the committee, the intent of trying to make sure that people that have property, for whatever reason, get their property. That's certainly what we would want, but that it isn't done anywhere else in the state. It has to be handled some other way. I would want to think that we need to find out how else it's done, and we don't know enough about exactly the way it's handled. But we'll take further testimony and discussion at some point. But I very much appreciate you coming in, because this certainly puts a little bit of a spin on it for me to how we can take a look at it.
Thanks.
I think
1 in 7 people have unclaimed property, so check out.
we're happy to take any more.
I got $14 right here. I can put it online.
You can do it online. I can help you do that.
Well, I just did, but you gotta print it all out, do that.
You do not, for $14. You do not.
How do we get them a screen up on the YouTube thing for us to get a demonstration going here?
Thing.
Right.
You get a prime example. Thank you very much for coming in. I think given the circumstances, we're gonna go ahead and adjourn until 10 o'clock. If Damien's available earlier, have him go over. Okay? But we're gonna